Hello, everybody. We are here to talk about Online Survival 4, Episode 7. Just Meg and Mike joining me this week. So, I, of course, want your up and downs, but just don't tell me why, since that's the new way I'm doing it these days. Whoever wants to go first.
For my up, I'm going to do Mary. And then honorable mention until the last 2 minutes of the episode was going to be Emily, funnily enough. I thought she played a really good episode until what happened. So right now my only up is Mary, and then my down is actually going to go to Riazo.
Mine are the same. Up for Mary, down for Rialdo.
Well, I guess we have to start with Emily. She is the person that went home. Mike, why did you have her up until the end?
That was brutal. I mean, she had convinced, it seemed like, the people on both sides that she was sort of on their side. Like, they thought for a little while that she was going to vote for Dom. And in a way that didn't get the heat on her in the way that Riazo had it going. And I thought, oh my God, they're not even thinking about targeting her. She's going to hold her idol through the week. And then the last 2 minutes of the episode just hit me like a truck. Completely threw me off there. So, like, I don't want to sit here and I think it did come back to bite her that she had told Ashley that she had the idol. But I actually thought she played a really good game, except for that fatal flaw. And I think she played like a good all-around episode too. Like I said, I had her marked down as my up until the actual vote came through. So pretty good game from her all around, honestly.
Nick, what would have happened if Emily did play her idol? Would they have all had to vote again?
No, Ashley would have went home. Because all the votes would have been blocked except for the one for Ashley. Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, honorable mention down for her for voting the person that she's using an advantage that could have sent her home. I mean, maybe it threw some smoke up. But I was confused as to how that worked.
What do you mean?
So Ashley voted Emily, and then her vote kind of went back onto her. Like, that's, I don't know why you did that. Why she did that.
Didn't she vote for herself? Ashley?
I thought she said Emily.
Oh, she voted for Emily.
Oh.
It did sound like me. I had to rewind it like 3 times to be honest with you, but no.
Yeah, why would she vote for Emily and then swap?
It was a bold move because
Emily
uses her idol.
Going to confuse everybody like a lot, and it doesn't seem like you played an advantage if you have a vote that isn't canceled on yourself. Like, that's, I mean, she actually explained the advantage to Riazo, who's probably going to tell somebody, but like, it wasn't all right, but like, as you said, it was this close to backfiring. If she had just got scared and played her idol, like, yeah.
Yeah, I will say, shout out to Fan Guy, wherever he may be, because he would always say this was used against him. He would say, oh, the swap up was too powerful. There's no way to stop it. But Emily could have stopped it. She just had to play her idol.
I really thought she was going to.
Why do you think she was lulled into not playing it? Just because she thought she had them convinced she was voting for Dom?
Yeah, I think so. I think she felt comfortable after the conversations she had. And I think she was concerned after her first conversation with Ashley, but then when Ashley came back and was like, all right, I thought about what you were talking about. And she was like proposing strategic moves to Emily. I think that Emily just felt okay. I think she thought that they were just going to vote Dom.
Yeah, I'm supposed to interview her tomorrow, so hopefully. I'm assuming, I feel like she talked herself into some sort of paranoia where she felt early before even maybe the comp. I don't remember exactly when the episode, but she walked into a conversation where Susan stopped talking. And I feel like from there, she felt like they were trying to convince her to use her idol and they're really going to vote for Dom. And that kind of was the case, but ended up not being the case.
She only had one person actually targeting her, and she didn't really like pull anyone in on the plan with her. Like, this wasn't the plan that her and Riazo came up with together. This was a single person playing advantage to get you out. Like, that just happens sometimes, man. Like, I don't really know that she made a crazy misstep beyond the one she made 2 weeks ago when she told about her idol to like 6 people.
I
And
do
she did
think
it
it
again
was a
here.
misstep to not use it, though. I mean,
She-
but the whole episode, we can see she's scrambling. She's trying to figure out a way to save herself. She's having all these conversations. She's really trying to put the heat on Dom, who is somebody that's on her side. So, you know, she must really feel in trouble if she's like, well, I know that there's already some heat on him, so let's just keep that going. If you're feeling that uncomfortable that it could be you, you play your idol.
This is what I mean, and that idols are like can be such a curse because it can totally change how you play, and it can cause you to make like dumb decisions, either in the interest of preserving it or like trying to make a big move with it. And like that's what happened here, I think, to an extent. But I can't really fault her for it too much.
Any other thoughts on Emily or her game overall?
I think it was her time to go. I liked Emily. I enjoyed watching her play. I hope to see her again.
It's a tragic tale. Don't tell people you have idols, because I really think that's probably why Ashley targeted her. Like, we didn't hear that reasoning, but like that's what
Well,
makes
why not
sense
target
to me.
Rita then?
She knew Emily had the idol, and I don't think she knew what, if anything, that Rita had. I might be wrong on that.
Weren't
But
the three of them in a conversation where Emily was the one that brought it up that this is how you get advantages?
I think that was Rita and Tabitha.
Oh, okay.
We could briefly touch upon Tabitha. She's been in Vegas for an episode and a half now. Any thoughts on Tabitha's game?
I almost thought about giving her like a half and up, because like just somehow she survived not essentially not being on the show, and was never truly considered. So like, maybe she's in, I guess, a good spot, right? I mean, it looks like she's coming back next episode, so it worked out for her through no effort of her own.
Fair. Meg, do you
Sorry,
have any
my
thoughts on
internet went
Tabitha?
out for a second. I missed what Mike said.
I just said she I almost thought about giving her half and up. She like something all worked out for her despite her not being there.
I mean, she can't help the fact that she doesn't have service or that her flight is delayed. Like, she voted, she tried. I hope they don't like fault her for that. I'm glad they didn't use her as like an easy vote out, and they just like continued to play strategically.
Yeah, we hear arguments about this both ways. Go back to Online Battle when Aspen wasn't there, and we all know how that works out.
But that was like early games, though. This is like we're in it now.
That's true.
I know. I'm just saying. I think you're right. Like, if you feel good with someone, which apparently a lot of people do feel good with Tabitha, like, why vote them out just because they're not there for one episode?
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on to Dom, who was a big target, possibly a big target in this episode, because as stated last week, he was winning immunities, which kind of put a target on his back. But how do you think Dom played this round? At least he used his idol, even though it was kind of wasted.
Technically a misplay, but again, can't fault him. Like, smart move. Like, absolutely, I can never fault someone for winning 2 challenges. You've never been vulnerable at the Verge. How many times have we watched someone go home in a situation like that on the real show? Or this, maybe my memory fails me. But like, you're screaming at them to play your idol, and they don't. Like, this was a smart idol play, even if it wasn't the right move. It was the right move.
I agree. He had votes against him, even though it was only 2. But had Emily played her idol and he didn't, he would have gone.
That's true.
But like Susan and Dom, I'm so over this Jason vote. I do not want to hear about the Jason vote anymore. And Susan and Dom just like they're just so obsessed with like going for each other. It's like, get over it.
Fair.
When you need a reason to target someone, why not?
Yeah, for sure. But they're so like honed in on like wanting to get the other one out or throwing their name out there that they're missing like what's really going on. Susan and Mary were the only ones to vote for Dom. Like, well, I mean, I guess this week that they did what they were supposed to do, but
credit to Dom, he did not vote Susan.
yes,
He did not. So,
Do you think he should have tried a different target? Or do you think Ashley was the target for that group?
I'm struggling to recall a single meaningful conversation between Dom and Ashley, like where they talked. And so for that reason, I think it's probably a good move for Dom. Like if you don't have a connection with a person, what good are they doing you as a shield? Yes, shields are great, but if they don't have a connection with you, what are they? They're just someone who's going to vote you out when they get
Yeah.
the chance. They're
And he
not
has
even
other
like
shields.
yeah.
Next up, we'll move on to Rita, who is still the leader of that group. What was her game like this week? I feel like she definitely has the tunnel vision.
Yeah. Well, what she did, I don't think is wrong. Just hearing, I need to keep the team together. I need to keep the team together, which it's not a terrible strategy. It's just I haven't seen the adaptation, and it's now the final 7, and you're now down in numbers. I think, or you're at least tied in numbers with. No, they still technically have it with Riazzo, but let's be honest, it's not real. Susan too, so like it's just not. It's not that black and white.
Yeah, I feel like she's going to become a much bigger target here in the next like episode or two, I'm sure, because she's separating herself. She's alienating herself from the other side, right? And offering them no opportunity to think that she'll ever work with them. Like, look what Riazzo said to, was it Dom, when he was like, we already know, like, Susan's never going to work with us. That's dead. That's not coming back. And Rita is very quickly making that known that she's over here and she's against X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, she's very good at I think it was Riazzo that said that in the confessional, that it was stupid of Rita to make Susan, let it be known to Susan that you're kind of against us. So
Yeah. Alex isn't here, so we got to get our Rita hate out for the week, I guess.
I think she did okay, though. I mean, she said what she needed to say to the people she needed to say it to, and then she just like let it go and trusted that they were going to do that, except for when Riazzo tried to flip it and she was like, no, we're all going to vote for Ashley. That's what we've decided. She wasn't willing to hear any other strategies that they could do.
Yeah. You need to hear your allies out about something like that, especially if it's like the flip vote. And it should have become clear to her by that point that Riazzo was in the middle. So that it didn't impress me, even though, like, again, it's not a terrible strategy or a terrible move, but like, I don't know.
She also wasted her advantage.
yeah, she listened to Riazzo to use it on Tabitha, who had a random vote.
No, why would you do that?
I guess clearly trusting of Riazzo.
I just like wouldn't block a random vote. The chance that they like throw that vote towards the one person you don't want them to is like slim. Or not they throw that, but it gets randomized, right? So
Yeah,
it's
not that it would have helped her to use it like on Ashley or anything really either, right? Because if she blocked Ashley's vote, she'd just be blocking that one vote for Emily, which ended up being for Ashley, so it wouldn't have mattered.
This was just not the week to use it. But however, with the amount of things that were flying around this week, I could see why.
It was a good strategy when she was wanting to block Ashley, because obviously that's the person that's not going to vote with you. But then when everything got all muddled and confusing, like, why use it at all if you're just going to use it on this random vote? Like, but I don't know. I'm indifferent on Rita this week. She's neither up nor down for me.
We will move on to, we might as well talk about Susan next. What are your thoughts on Susan this week?
Susan was a gymnast? I want proof.
You don't believe her?
I want to see pictures.
I'll try and have her bring some to the interview.
No, I believe it. She's playing a fine game. She's gonna find herself at the end. The original Legends want to take her to the end, I guess, kind of at this point, because they might try to get her back. I don't know, probably not. Probably not while Dom's in the game. But like Ashley wants her at the end. Riaza wants her at the end. Like she's gonna find her way into the late game. Like I've said, like when are you getting Susan out at this point? That now all these advantages are gone. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon.
And she still has an advantage.
She does. I'm sorry, I forget this.
There's so many. I know. She has a switch of vote. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she does have like a switch of vote, which is essentially a vote steal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Is
she
it
essentially
public?
yeah.
Like, will she have to make it in public?
No.
Okay.
Secret.
It's again, she gets to the final 5, final 4, whenever that thing expires, makes one big move. Like, why couldn't it be Susan?
She'll use it to get Dom out.
You're absolutely correct.
She did vote for Dom this week, Meg. I know you said you're getting tired of their little rivalry, but it was the first time she had a chance to vote for Dom.
No, and I think I'm indifferent on Dom too. It's like whatever. I don't really care if he's there or not. Like I don't see him with like any like crazy gameplay, but this was the week to get him out. He is a comp beast, and he's aligned with one of the strongest people in the game. So this was the opportunity to go after him. I know that they thought, and I agree, Ashley was the bigger threat, but I wasn't really upset with Susan pushing his name because the past 2 weeks she really couldn't do anything about it, and now finally this opportunity is in front of her. It's more with him, like, can we just stop trying to get Susan out? Like, who cares?
But I mean, if somebody's coming at you, don't you want to try and get them out?
Yes, but I guess not if like people aren't rallying behind that person to try to get you out. And I don't think that he thinks that Susan, he knows that Susan is like riding the coattails of Ashley. So I don't think that he thinks she has any power to do so. I don't know. He played his idol, so he must have
felt something.
Yeah.
I think a lot went into that. Well, I called it in this game. I don't even remember what I called it. Shack chat, when everybody could go into the chat at different times. Dom's very good at walking into the chat when people are talking about it. It's happened like 2 or 3 times.
That was a good scene.
Oh yeah,
I
he
like
did.
that.
I wrote that down.
I don't know. He must feel when people are talking to him, talking about him, and he wants to show up.
Okay, but it was Mary talking about him, and she's like never talking, and she shows up and it's her, and she goes, "Ah!"
I know, she was the loudest she's been on season. Hi, Dom.
And it's like, what?
That's so funny.
We might as well talk about Mary next. You both had her up. Why was that?
This was Mary's episode. I loved Mary this episode. I love to see her finally like vocalizing what's going on in her head. You can see that she's thinking about the game. You can see that she knows what's going on. She's smart. Before it was like, I felt like sometimes I thought she was lost, but she's not. And I mean, I loved seeing her come out of her shell.
Yeah, you all did talk about it last week that she can't just say this in confessionals. At least this week she did tell people.
Yeah.
No, this was her breakout episode, and like this is the time in the game that you start ramping it up. She didn't do anything too crazy. She didn't try to like run the entire vote, but she started to plant the seeds, plant the fact that Riaza was playing like both sides. Like, finally, someone recognized it. Like Riaza, we'll get to him, but like, someone recognized it, and Mary was like doing a good job of planting those seeds, I think. And yes, it got back to him immediately. However, I don't think it matters. I think it's still the right thing to do, even if it gets back to him, because you need to start the boulder rolling down the hill so it picks up momentum just in time to crash into the appropriate people.
And he's still going to blame it on Susan. He's going to say, oh, Mary heard Susan say that, and that's why she brought it up. It's going to be her fault.
It's always Susan's fault.
If Aspen was here, she would agree. Do you think Dom should have told Riazo so quickly about what Mary was saying?
No. This vote was not the time to do it. You tell him next week so that anger and confusion is fresh and you can control that as the narrative of the round. You can pit Riazo against Mary. You can make that this is the Riazo versus Mary round. You don't say it in a round that Mary's not a target, Riazo's not a target, and you're not really trying to get the target on Mary like right then. I don't think this was the right timing.
Why do you think? I guess. Do you want to move on to Riazo? Why do you think people trust him so much? Even especially Dom. I think he talks a lot of shit about Dom on confessionals, but Dom's pretty in on Riazo.
He really does. Oh God.
Riazo has a good way of speaking to people and talk strategy with them. Like he's 100% on their side, and like he has the right level of emotion in it. He has the right tone of voice with certain people. Like he's really good at that. But this episode, it was like a little too much.
Yeah.
Mike, before we get to this episode, you weren't here last week. How did you feel about Riazo last week with the whole Muggsy fake idol chaos?
No, I love it. Like, everyone was like, "Don't tell Muggsy these things." Like, everyone was like, "Susan, don't tell Muggsy that you voted alongside her." And like Riazo telling her to talk about a fake idol. I think it was a good plan. I just think Muggsy isn't much of an actress. And she's just not a bullshitter.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was a good plan, poorly executed by Muggsy. So like, I thought it was actually good, and then I liked doing it. Why not cause some chaos if you are in a good spot?
This week, Riazo wanted to cause chaos to get rid of a lot of advantages, which I guess worked, but
when you're immune.
That's true. Why did you all have him down, though?
Yeah, so I still think he's a good player, and he's playing a good game. However, for the first time in this game, somebody clocked him. Mary just clocked him like that, and like started again that boulder rolling down the hill. And like he went from like maybe probably one of the top 2 contenders to win the whole thing to like, okay, now you're in danger. Are you going to be able to get out of it? So like, he's not a terrible player. He didn't make terrible decisions. He just someone finally caught on to this style of game. And now he has to get himself out of a dangerous position, potentially without immunity if he doesn't win it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how he maneuvers through next week's episode and kind of brings it back, because I understand what he was doing and it was the right week to do it because he was immune. And literally everybody was coming and being like, I have this, and this. So like, I was to like throw the shit up in the air and like see where it lands. But there was one conversation near the end, I think, when who told him Mary didn't trust him or something. Somebody said that to him. And yeah, but he took it very hard, I guess. But it was like the wrong audience to have that reaction in, because I'm like, Susan and Ashley are sitting right here. And now you're like hardcore, like honing in on the fact that like Mary doesn't trust you and you're looking all buddy with Dom right now. So you're kind of giving up your middle spot.
I want to circle to his conversations with Emily first. Riazo played a lot in this episode, so we have to talk about him a lot. Do you think he shouldn't have trusted Emily as much as he didn't seem to at the end of that conversation because she told him about her idol so late?
He's absolutely right in that, oh, this is reeks of desperation and they need me to vote for him. So here's all the information we've been keeping from you all game. Please work with us now. Like that's absolutely something people do like all the time. And he read that correctly because suddenly they need him and suddenly you're in the inner circle. Congrats, you know everything now. A little too little too late.
Meg, do you think Emily and Dom should have listened to him about targeting Tabitha this week instead of Ashley? Sort of like the king to the queen chess move.
No, I don't think it would have changed the outcome, really. I mean, it depends on if then he would still go back to Ashley and tell her to use her.
But do you think he would have told her to use it to save Tabitha?
I don't know, maybe use it just to like get the
Get rid of
advantages
it.
out of the game.
That's
I don't
fair.
think he really cared what happened as long as people were playing all of their stuff.
That's fair.
But it backfired on him because it got his number one ally out.
Mike, do you think that who do you think Riazzo should have, like, if he's causing all this chaos, should he have had a target he wanted out?
I mean, he did have a
I
target
guess he did, yeah.
that he wanted out. Ashley just didn't listen to what he wanted her to do, which, like, more power to her, but we'll get to that in a minute. But, like, no,
Rita vote, you mean?
he had a target. Yeah, he had his target, which was Rita, and it just didn't work. He didn't put in the requisite, like, you could tell in that conversation with Ashley that she was, like, not vibing with it, like the plan to use the advantage. So
I mean, would you have vibed with it if somebody's telling you the last couple minutes of a chat?
come on, you know me. Nobody's gonna dictate to me how I use an advantage. Nobody would know about this advantage, but, like, you're not gonna dictate how to do my vote. That's, like, not happening. So, like, yeah. I don't think I think he did get overly excited. Like, you could see the excitement when he realized what the power was. And he's like, oh my God, yes, I'm going to tell him this, and you're going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and you're going to do this, and Susan's going to do this, and Mary's going to do this. And it's like, okay, slow your roll. You learned about this 30 seconds ago, and you just planned out the whole round in front of me. Like, yeah, that's not going to sit well with anybody.
The problem is too, Nick, just like you said, like, he waits until there's like 2 minutes left in the chat to drop these bombs. And, like, sometimes that's good because, like, if you're strategic about, like, when you say something that's gonna really, like, cause a ruckus in the game, and you say it like when you said at the end of the chat that when the first time we played, she was like, they're gonna win, okay, bye, and everybody's out, and we're like, wait, what? But you can't use the last 2 minutes to try to develop this very involved strategic plan that involves a lot of players. That's something you need to come in the beginning of the chat and be like, all right, listen, here's what we're doing. And here's how you talk to everybody else, which Ashley is good at doing, like trying to figure out the, like, telephone game.
Do you think Riazzo is responsible for Emily being the person going home this week?
Yeah.
Ashley was not planning on using that advantage.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to Ashley. Any thoughts on Ashley this week, who did choose Emily to go home?
You know,
I mean, it all ended up working out for her in the end, but I felt like she was spiraling a little this episode.
Oh, she was definitely going through it leading up to Tribal Council.
You know, I don't know what to think for, like, maybe the first time this season about Ashley this episode. And, like, she did her own thing and didn't just let Riazzo control her vote this round. Like, I love that. However, was this the right move for her to make is a tougher question to answer, I think.
Why did she pick Emily and not Rita?
I'm sure to be explained, maybe. I'm assuming that what happened in one of the Shack chats leading towards Tribal Council is when she's trying to... It's Ashley, Emily, Riazzo, and I don't remember who else. I want to say Mary, all in the chat.
Yeah,
and
I think you're right.
And they're not saying, oh, we're voting for Dom tonight, because that's what Emily's supposed to be saying, because Emily's saying we're voting for Dom tonight. And then both Riazzo and Emily leave. I think she kind of saw that as like, maybe Emily's, because Emily's been trying to play her this whole round. So I think that kind of just put the bigger target on Emily's back rather than Rita.
And I think she had her convinced up until that chat. And like Emily needed to have the awareness to be like, oh, these are the people I'm supposed to be convincing of this. And so I can just say, oh, this is what I'm doing.
Mm.
And so that might have been a failure sort of to point to. And I do, again, we didn't hear this reasoning. I still think it has something to do with the idol that she knew that Emily had. You know what I mean? Like, you might as well take that shot at someone.
I'm just wondering if it had anything to do with the fact that did she know like how closely Rialzo and Emily were working together?
I think that's a good point too.
Because I mean, why not weaken him if you feel like he's playing both sides? Then take away other players on his side that would convince him to go against you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see them in the chat not reaffirming where you're at with them, and then you see them leave like together essentially, and you're like, okay, Riazzo's playing both sides, you're gonna like make that connection that Emily's probably trying to play you as well.
Mm.
So I think I understand her reasoning a little bit, but like, I don't know.
Where do you think everybody should go from here going into next week? Final 7. They don't know it's a double yet, but
They're gonna find out. They need to like one of these power players is going to go out in this double. It's gonna probably be an Ashley or a Riazzo boot. Or they just go and pick off Rita and Dom and just finish off the job of like the Legends strong alliance from the very beginning of the game.
They could very well do that.
Could totally see that. I kind of would like them to like realize something that I've said 1,000 times and will say 1,000 times more. Comp Beast is kind of hard to quantify with these challenges. You know, it's not like Dom can lift 600 pounds and nobody else can even come close to that, and they're all strength-based challenges. Like, okay, I know the
Coming
distance
from a
between
comp beast.
Yeah, I know the
Fair.
distance between all the countries in North America. Like, oh, great, I'm going to win that challenge now. Like, you never know what people are going to know and be good at. Maybe I'm good at Pictionary. Maybe I'm terrible at Pictionary. Like, just because Dom won 2 challenges doesn't mean he's suddenly LeBron James. Like, what was that? Was that a Samoa quote from, like, Russell Hantz where the guy won a bunch of challenges?
something like
He's
that, yeah.
I don't know, man. I kind of have a feeling that they're just going to pile on Dom because he's a comp beast for one of the 2 parts of this double. If he doesn't win immunity, however that works.
I forgot to ask. We've seen this ploy once. In this episode, Rialzo also tried to tell Rita he has a fake idol going into this next round. Do you like that plan from Rialzo?
I must have missed that in all the chaos, to be completely
Yeah, I
honest
don't
with
remember
you.
that either.
So, like, out of the context, I can't really form an opinion on it.
That's fair. He was basically saying that people get advantages when they win sometimes, like Dom did with his idol. So he said, I just got an idol for winning this competition.
Oh, he did? I can't even. That's so funny.
Yeah, for this specific tribal, you're immune. Congratulations.
This guy loves his fake idols.
He does.
I think it's better done like way more subtly than that. Like there are better ways to feign an idol, and I don't think just telling someone I got an idol for winning the challenge right before you vote against their interests, that shouldn't convince somebody.
Okay, I do remember this because didn't he say like, "Oh, I don't really know exactly what it is yet because I haven't read it yet."
Yeah, he did say something like that, yes.
And I was like, "Read what?" The words that come up on the screen. You can tell when people are lying because they have no idea like how you get idols, what they are, you know, how it comes to be.
True.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've done this in the past in a completely different game. I wrote a whole fake like story, like paragraph explaining the rules of the idol and like put that in there. And then later in the game, like to fake that I had one. And then later in the game, I found out what the real idol was. It was like 2 sentences. You have an idol. It expires here. No one bought that shit.
Did it backfire?
Oh yeah, it backfired.
Well, do you have any final thoughts or predictions?
I think they would be smart to try to go after Riazzo next week just because he's such a wild card for everybody right now, but I'm not sure they will. Not with Susan and Dom in the game.
I will say, I think the next comp for Final 7 is everyone's favorite helicopter.
Oh my lord. All right, Susan's winning that. She's got those Facebook game skills coming through. I actually started to say power players next week. I actually would be shocked if Dom made it through this next round. He's such a comp beast, and he just was on the wrong side of a vote. I would be shocked if he made it through this double elimination. If it was a regular elimination, I could see it, but yeah.
Yeah, and then I could see a throwaway like Tabitha.
No, Tabitha's way too well connected at this point, to be honest with you. They're going to target Ashley way before her, in my opinion. They're going to target Riazzo before her. They're going to target Rita and Dom before her. Although if she's going to start trying to play the middle, like the preview might be suggesting, that
I would take Tabitha to final too if I was in the game.
You think you can beat her?
Yeah, I'd be like, go ahead and explain what you did.
Muggsy would spend the entire final tribal council bullying Tabitha, and the other jurors would feel so bad that she would get all the other votes.
All right. Well, that is all for this week. I do want to say I'm casting for another game, probably the Traders or a trader-like game. So if anybody wants to play, there's a lot of old viewers that have viewed a lot of games. There's new viewers watching. Please, try and sign up to play. Here's the email at the bottom.
Do it, y'all. It's a fun time. It's a fun time.
Yes. Still looking for new blood. There might be a few returnees this season. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But
yeah, all the people in the chat need to go apply.
I agree.
Yeah, if you're spouting your opinions off and you think you can do it better, prove it.
Exactly. And this is kind of an easier game, I think, compared to Survivor Big Brother. It's also shorter. It's a much shorter game.
You're probably not going to shove 30 advantages into it.
Exactly.
Although who knows?
No, don't worry. All right. I want to thank you both for joining me. We'll see you all next week for the double elimination.